What's up, guys? The Xbox Legend here. Now I want to go over the 2015-16 Boston Bruins season. Well, it was a horrible year, losing out of the playoffs by 0 points. We had the better goal difference, better head-to-head than Detroit, but we lost by that one stupid overtime/regulation win. I think is the stupidest rule ever. Anyways, the season started off. Well, let's go before the season started off, and Peter Chiarelli was fired for not making the playoffs. So they brought in Don Sweeney, and one of the first trades he does is send Lucic over to Los Angeles for Martin Jones and Colin Miller. I was excited for Martin Jones. I've always loved him. I loved his goalie positioning, and it'd be a great 1-2 punch with Tuukka Rask, and I actually thought we had a chance to win the President's Trophy. But less than 24 hours after the trade was made, the Bruins traded Martin Jones to San Jose for a first-round draft pick in 2016. That's this year's. And Matt Irwin, who only played one game and had like 5 turnovers in the season opener, like a -3, so he got sent down. I don't think the Bruins ever heard of him again. And then on the draft, the Bruins trade Dougie Hamilton to Calgary for a first-round draft pick and I believe a second. I don't remember that trade. Anyways, and then the Bruins traded another player. I forgot who it was. I'm having a brain fart. Let me think here. They traded Carl Soderberg to Colorado. They traded Riley Smith to Florida for Jimmy Hayes, who was just a big disappointment. I was expecting a 25-goal season. Anyways, the Bruins had 3 picks in a row. First team to do in NHL history. So we could trade up to get Noah Hanifin from Carolina. But Don Sweeney didn't want to do it. So we draft Jake DeBrusk and 2 people I can just not pronounce the name from, so I'm not even going to bother by trying. So, the Bruins. So, we signed Matt Bolesky to a 5-year contract with 3 years not being tradable. So, anyways, now as the season starts. Oh, we also signed Jonas Gustafsson, who is a decent backup for us. But I would much rather Martin Jones that we traded to San Jose. Well, the season started off horribly, probably the worst in Bruins history. Even in 1924, when the Bruins first came into the National Hockey League, they had a better start winning their first game. The Bruins started off their 3-game homestands 0-3, giving about 6 goals a game. It was horrible. I was disappointed, especially I've been a Bruins fan like my whole life. So, that was a bad way to start the season. Then, against Colorado, we finally pick up our first win. Jimmy Hayes scoring. And Jonas Gustafsson in the net. So, Tuukka Rask didn't have a good start to the season. And then they went to Arizona where Shane Doan got his 1,000th point on the Bruins' first ever coaches challenge that we should have won but lost. But we still won that game. Anyways, same old. Bruins they would win a lot in a row, then lose a lot in a row. Season was going well until Milan Lucic came back to Boston, and LA tore us apart, winning 9-2 in Milan Lucic's return. Oh, yeah, I forgot Milan Lucic. Yeah, I already said that. I was happy to see Lucic back. I love the montage the Bruins had for him. But I was expecting something more, like his name getting announced before the game, like Bruins fans, please welcome back Milan Lucic or something like that, because he was so beloved by Bruins fans. Anyways, we're getting near the end of the season. We lose a shootout, a must-win shootout to Carolina of all teams. And guess who scores the winning shootout goal? Noah Hanifin. Out of all players, it's Noah Hanifin. And then we go back to TD Garden. We win 4-1 against Detroit. The biggest win of the season. I'm like, yes, we'll make the playoffs. And then we go against Ottawa. We're 1-0 up after a beautiful play by David Pastrnak, loving it down. 1-0 Bruins. And then Ottawa scores 6 unanswered goals. And everyone's like, it's Rask's fault for not having loyalty to his team and everything. But even though he was puking, throwing up, crapping his pants off, it's like, what do you expect him to do? Throw up all over the ice? There's a block! And Jonas Gustafsson blew the game. He is probably like the worst goalie when it comes to big games that I've ever seen. Fun fact, I believe Marchand scored his only hat trick against Jonas Gustafsson. That's pretty cool. So, my disappointments this season, as the Bruins didn't make the playoffs, like I said in the beginning of the video. My disappointments is Jimmy Hayes, first of all. I was expecting him to do decent for us, but he's been god-awful. Meanwhile, Riley Smith in Florida is just tearing it up. Alternative captain of the Panthers. They got knocked out in the first round of the playoffs. And then my other disappointment is Matt Bolesky. I was expecting a lot more from him. Tuukka Rask, surprisingly. I love him. He's one of my favorite players. He's probably my second favorite player behind Bergeron. But his start to the season was just horrible. That's brought his numbers down. He had a good way to end the season, but it's just that start made his numbers go like this. I just don't know what to say. Oh yeah, Claude Julien is safe. Cam Neely said that in a press conference. Claude Julien will not be fired, but assistant coach Doug Huda is. But what makes no sense to me is Peter Chiarelli bringing a cup to Boston, 8 straight Stanley Cup playoff appearances, gets fired because he didn't make the playoffs. Don Sweeney doesn't make the playoffs his first year. He doesn't get fired. How does that work? You can blame Claude Julien all you want, but what else is he supposed to do? He has these horrible players who just don't know how to play. He called Bakari when he was god-awful in his first few debut games, and they sent out Max Talbot, who is a consistent player and works harder than any other player in the whole team. It's ridiculous. You can say all you want how much the Bruins suck, but we should have been in the playoffs. That stupid rule that the NHL placed in for overtime regulation wins. What's the point of adding the shootout if that's not going to determine wins? The Bruins were a plus 18 throughout the regular season goal difference. They had Detroit, I believe, a 3-0-1 series. Why are we not in the playoffs? You have Chara, who's god-awful, the worst captain in the NHL, worst probably defenseman in the NHL, doing stupid mistake after stupid mistake, but the Bruins don't want to see him like that. They're keeping him instead of trading him. Even though he has a no-trade contract, if you push him enough, he'll accept the trade and leave. Cut his contract. Buy it out. Name Bergeron the captain. You saw him in that last timeout, yelling at his team, and Charlie's just standing there like there's nothing going on. Even though Claude Julien didn't say anything, but he was keeping that locker room together from a tweet by Matt Bolesky on his Twitter after the game against Ottawa on April 9th. It's just ridiculous. I understand like 20 days after the game season ended, but I just need to get it off my chest. But Boston, we lose. Boston sport fans, the Patriots aren't going to be good after Tom Brady retires. The Red Sox aren't going to be good when Ortiz retires. They're barely being good. Boston Celtics are barely squeezing into the playoffs. And you got the Revolution, who have our only chance of being a good team in the future, but they're not even doing good. We were spoiled by success for the past 16 years. Just accept the fact that we're not going to be a good competitive team in probably the next 5 years. We're going to have all teams not in the playoffs. We're going to end up being like, who's a bad team? Colorado or something. Even though Denver just won, like, I don't know who's bad. Just respect that we're not gonna be a playoff teams anymore. I'm from Massachusetts. I'm from eastern western Massachusetts, and I love my Boston sports more than anything. I hate teams outside of Boston. I have a Tom Brady poster. I love Tom Brady. I like the Patriots. I don't mind the Red Sox. It puts a smile on my face when they win. David Price for $200 million. It's probably the worst buy ever. I got a huge Bruins poster. If you look over there, I got a Revolution poster. I got a bunch of Bruins crap. Let me see if I can find my Tom. I can't find my Tom Brady poster. It's over there, but I'm too lazy to show it. But it's disappointing in me just because I love the Bruins so much, and everyone's saying blame Tuukka Rask, blame Claude Julien. It's not their fault. People like trade Tuukka Rask. Get him a legitimate top 2 defenseman that they had in the 13-14 season, and boom, they're a President's Trophy contender again. We had the chance in Chris Russell. Don Sweeney blew that. Don Sweeney is the worst GM in probably Bruins history. And stupid owner, Jeremy Jacobs, hires him to a 3-year plan. So that means Don Sweeney has 3 years to get the Bruins to be a successful franchise. Peter Chiarelli took, I believe they made the playoffs his first year. And everyone's like, well, the Bruins are known for trading Joe Thornton, Phil Kessel, Tyler Seguin. The Bruins traded Joe Thornton because they want to build a team around Bergeron. So they acquired people that will go along with Bergeron. It was, even though they trusted the 19, 20-year-old, it's, and I look at them, Bergeron's one of the best players in the league. The Bruins traded Phil Kessel for Tyler Seguin or Taylor Hall. I'm really starting to wish that Edmonton took Tyler Seguin so we'd have Taylor Hall and none of this controversy would start. But look who we got back. We got Louis Eriksson, who's been a good fit on this team, even though I don't think he's going to resign during the re-sign stage in July. But who knows? You got Riley Smith. You can't forget Matt Fraser. He scored that goal against Montreal in overtime and jumped like 10 feet in the air. What happened to him? Comment down below if you know what happened to Matt Fraser. Riley Smith got traded for Jimmy Hayes. Matt Irwin, I don't even know where he went. I think he's in Providence still. Say anything if I'm wrong. Anyways, my projection, and the Bruins also had 30 goal scorers. We had Marchand, Bergeron, and Louis Eriksson. It's the first time since 03 and 04. Where it was Joe Thornton, I forgot who it was. I know Joe Thornton was one of them. Anyways, my projection next year, the Bruins will make the playoffs if they add that top 2 defenseman. They don't, no playoffs. Goodbye.